That's rude, Scott. Let's see here. And we're live. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, everybody. Go ahead and get your drinks. I'm having my HEB sparkling lemon water, I guess, from HEB here in Texas. And we're not started. We're started, but not officially started. So go get some coffee, a nice cool beverage, and we'll be ready. Today we're going to be going over the Fantom today. And here's the screen that we'll be looking at. Looks pretty good on my end here. And then there's the screen so you guys can see. And then I hooked up another MacBook so we can go ahead and learn how to hook it up with the MacBook. Oh, that being said, I might need another USB. And also on the line, we have my sidekick. No, you're not my sidekick. I also have my colleague, my friend, my bro, Scott Berry. Hey, Scott.
Hey, it doesn't matter to me what you call me. I'm just happy to be a part of all this.
Oh, tear. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I need one more USB. What did the little kids say? AFK. Here, I'm going to put it so you can look at the Roland website.
So how is everybody doing on this wonderful Thursday? Keeping busy, playing, learning?
And I'm back. Have an extra USB because we're going to need that. Yeah, what Scott's saying is everybody keeping busy, staying healthy, drink plenty of water. Be nice. Go to the store only if you have to, but don't take everything. And also take care of your elders and your family and your neighbors if you can. Stuff like there. And let me see so I can see the chat here myself. And where is it? Here we go. We're getting in there. We're still, what time is it? Oh, it's 2 o'clock on the dot, but we'll give everybody a minute. And, I got signed out of my own YouTube. Rude. Let's see. Let me go into here.
Not surprised.
Let's see here. And we're, just while we're getting started, going to have a special guest today, Jim Daneker, at some point if you're on here. Would love to talk to you and find out your thoughts from a person that's a touring musician. What's going on there for all of our touring guys over here? Oh, look, there he is. There is the chat. Great. All right, here we see here. Let me go through and say hi to everybody because it's really nice and it feels great to have you guys here. I see you, Mark. Give it a wiggle. I know. I guess I said that in all that video. You guys not sure what video? Go find it. I think it's Mark. I think it was with the Phantom video. Look, somebody else. Wolf cry. Give it a wiggle. I know. Look it up. Inside joke. It's crazy. And let's see. Vilt TV art channel. Great. Hey, glad you guys are here. Aliens. Nice. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. Wolfcry already put, you never know what you want from a keyboard until someone does something with it you couldn't expect it to do. Absolutely. I think, Scott, that's how a lot of us grew up. I had no idea,
No idea how they were tracking things or doing any of that other stuff. I mean, I remember getting I was able to borrow a little Fostex 4-track, and then I wound up with the Porta 1, the Tascam. It was a tape 4-track, and that just completely opened up my world.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention, too, my first digital delay rack, which was a Roland. It was an SDE 1000, and even that inspired me to do different things and to write different things. And I'm sure all of you guys have gone through, when you've gotten new gear, you sit down in front of it for the first time and you get inspired.
Absolutely.
And just start to go crazy. And it's like the gear today is tenfold of what it was back then. But yeah, it's just so cool.
Yeah. And okay, here's who we got. We got 5 Chris, brother from another mother, no work, music production only. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Let's see. Who else is on here? TP Shimmons, school teacher here, but my learning has ramped up. Case in point, get to learn here. Absolutely. You know, we're gonna turn that frown upside down and learn about keyboards and synthesizers and recording, just having fun. Okay, so we can do that. For all my teachers out there, really support what you guys do. Your gentlemen and ladies do for all of us. Apologies to my teachers in junior high. I know I wasn't the best kid. But look at me now. No, just joking. Let's see. The Garden House Studios. Hi, hey, how are you guys doing? In Garden House Studios. Let's see. I see Mr. Jim Daneker. How are you, sir? Look forward to talking to you later on. Let's see. I love all this community. I'm seeing all this. Isn't this cool, Scott? You see a lot of that.
Yes.
Let's see.
You see the one from Walter?
Oh, I just got to Walter. Oh, where can we put up a good word to you to the people at Roland? If you want, I guess J. Wanamaker. Should I put that? So you can put it to the president of Roland US. That's cool. You know, that's fine. J. Wanamaker at Roland.com if you want to. That's our boss's boss of the US. J. Wanamaker. And I'm kind of like, oh. So y'all be nice. Don't get me removed. Okay. Let's see. Hey, thank you. I'm glad you liked the show last night. We're just kind of having fun. No, Mario, we haven't talked about the FA, but maybe we can talk about the FA this coming week. Let's see. Hello, Trinidad. Awesome. Glad to see Trinidad here. I love seeing where everybody's from, different parts of the U.S. and different parts of the world. That's really awesome. Let's see. So this is the 4th episode. I'll go ahead and get started and stop just kind of yapping. This is the 4th episode, and today we're going to cover mostly Fantom. And we're going to cover Fantom as it relates to working within a DAW. And my Fantom here, I haven't pre-done anything, okay? It has the latest operating system, which I'm going to take you completely through. And then on my DAW here in the computer, I have Logic, but this is my backup Mac. This is my older work Mac. And, I haven't used Logic in here in a minute. So we're going to I'm going to do this as you would do it. I think I'm going to have to put the drivers in this Mac and kind of get it going so you guys can follow along with me. What do you think, Scott? I think that'll be good. So
yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah,
especially, I mean, some of the stuff. What's cool about live things is that if something goes awry or we run into a quick little issue or something, I think it's good to show that sometimes because not everything works as perfect the first time or when you're trying to do something. And again, this is also how we learn, but how you learn on your own, So it's not a fault of the product or anything like that. Sometimes most of the time, it's operator error.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been through that plenty of times.
Absolutely. And I think you guys, if you've been watching this series, you see me do bonehead stuff. And then, Scott, I know, has been with me where I do bonehead stuff, like, oh, did you plug it in? So, yeah, I do that all the time. And so I know myself, I get so excited, I have to, slow down and just, go piece by piece.
And breathe.
And, slow down. Yeah, we tell each other that when we're doing production stuff or we're hooking up stuff. Relax, and I even find myself when I'm hooking up MIDI, out, in, goes from the out into the in, so just stuff like that because I've done, put MIDI out to MIDI out on 2 different boards or things, and so that'll be cool. Let's see here. Let me see some other questions. Let's see. Douglas Carmichael, Ed, if I wanted the Fantom sounds without a keyboard, would the Integra be what I want? What do you think, Scott? I think that'd be the closest. I think that would be. Yes and no.
The Integra 7 has 6,000 sounds in it. Over 6,000 sounds. It has all 12 SRX cards sitting there.
But
it is more the history of Roland, the JVs, the XVs. Even the Phantom X and the Phantom G, but it's a product that came out way before this Phantom.
Absolutely.
So it does have all the supernatural synth engine and supernatural acoustic that the Jupiter 80 has. So it is a huge resource of Roland sounds all the way across the board. There's no question. can't go wrong with
You
it.
can't go wrong with the Integra as far as, like Scott saying, a history of Roland, but some of the things that the Integra doesn't have, and we're just talking sounds. We're not talking about any kind of workstation features such as recording. But the Integra 7 doesn't have vPiano. Doesn't have vPiano because I think that was a newer technology about when that came out. So so that's not in there, and it doesn't. It also doesn't have the sharing capabilities of the Zencore engine. So you cannot necessarily share sounds created in Integra with any of the Zencore products such as Fantom, Jupiter X, Jupiter XM, and some of the future ones that are going to adhere to that. So that's the thing with that one. And then also, the Integra does have all the expansion boards. I think all of them in there, but you can only use 4 at a time, whereas the Fantom can use all 15 simultaneously at any time. So there are some pluses and minuses to both in there.
Yeah, and it's like the Integra, you were able to load supernatural synth engine sounds from the Integra into the FA.
And
that was kind of like the beginning of seeing a little bit of cross-platform stuff, and now it's gone way further.
And that sharing of the supernatural sounds from the Integra into the FA, that was kind of a Easter egg. That was kind of like we were kind of talking, and it was like, well, if this does this and the architecture is similar to this, it was like one of those things that we kind of just tried and like, oh, it works, yay! So that's where that kind of came in. You know what I mean? So,
absolutely.
So that was the Easter egg that we kind of found out. And because we're synth nerds and we just love this stuff, and then as soon as we found out and tested it amongst ourselves, and we were like, hey, it works, cool. What do we call it? We'll call it an Easter egg because it wasn't really meant to do that. Okay, so, all right.
Real quick, I'm watching the chat and with Walter and some other guys talking about, that they don't like the name Fantom because it's been used since early 2000 and things, probably, is my guess. Yeah, a new name could have been cool, but at the same time, I've watched a lot of people get hung up on a name. The Jupiter 80 is a great case of that, and it's like, please, guys, don't let it affect your opinion on the product because of the name, or if you don't like the name or don't think the name justifies it or something like that. I mean, we've heard some names out there that, what the name the JDXA was almost named. And things like that. It's
you guys have no idea.
And it has to work globally. This is something that people don't think about when they come up with a name for a product. It's got to work globally. And in some countries, things may be offensive or translate weird or anything like that. I mean, so once they've stuck with something, people know. And tell me if I'm wrong.
Wrong.
When somebody says Phantom, it's a workstation.
Yeah.
You don't even have to think about, well, what is that? So I think that's why they've stuck with it. But, good to know, and we definitely appreciate your opinion.
Hey, what's up, Daquan? Thanks for the shout-out to Scott. Man, Scott got a fan on here. Cool. And Douglas Carmichael says, I currently have a Synthstrom Deluge as my main sequencer, cool, and Bitwig as my DAW. Would the MC707 be a better tool to get the Roland sounds for electronic music without a keyboard?
Yes.
Yeah, probably would. And then if you're using, some of these other things, that might be a way of working that's more your style of working. That's the thing. That's the thing we have to look at when we're talking about which products to get, and you got to look at. And this is something I've said for years. You just have to go ahead and say, okay, what are the meat and potatoes? What are the main things that I want this musical instrument to do for me? And so you have to kind of like, and I'll get on a piece of paper. I'm like, okay, I need this sounds and these type of sounds and this kind of functionality. And then I just kind of go through and figure out which keyboard is the one that fits my taste, my requirements. Because what I might want, and Scott knows this too, what he might want in a synthesizer, and you're saying, Scott, what's the best synthesizer? What's the best keyboard that I need? It's like, well, he doesn't know what you're looking for. Okay, so that's why I know when we meet you guys in person or online, we ask you, okay, what are you trying to do? And that's just so we can kind of hear, like, we can put you in the right thing. Because my goal is 6 months down the line after you have these instruments, you're super stoked and you're happy and you just love playing on it. So, all right, so let's get started. I think everybody got their coffee. And by the way, this is non-alcoholic. This is just, I think, seltzer water. This is just sparkling water. It's not alcohol. Okay, cool. All right.
Yes, Douglas. The MC707 USB port would sub every track out.
Yeah.
And also, too, the MC707 has the Zencore engine in it, for those of you that don't know. So, yeah, you do have part of the Phantom there.
Yeah.
And part of the Jupiter. Not the amazing stuff that makes the Phantom or the amazing stuff that makes the Jupiter. But, yeah, you do have a lot of access there, which is really, really cool.
All right, so let's get started. Let's see. All right. Okay, so first off, I have the Fantom here on top. I got my Fantom already set, and, just make sure you guys can hear. But it's not even so much about you hearing the Fantom yet. Fantom check. Let me know if you can hear it loud and clear. Looks good on my side. All right, cool. So if we can hear that, I'm going to go ahead and let's get started trying to hook this up to the computer. First thing I need to do before I do anything else is I want to take a look at my computer first off and see what we're using, because this is what we run into a lot, because there's different MacBooks, MacBook Pros, and then some people might be on the different OSs. What do we just have, Scott? We had Catalina, and then before that was
Mojave. Yeah, Mojave.
And then some people might be on.
I think it also supports High Sierra and maybe Sierra.
Okay.
We can only go back so far.
Absolutely.
And it's like even Windows 7 is not being supported anymore.
So let's take a look right now. I'm going to go to the website with you guys and follow along if you just got your Phantom. So I'm going to the website, and it's roland.com, and it'll find you globally. So I'm going to go to my products, and I'm going to go to synthesizers. Choose in here. Great, synthesizers. Go into performance workstation. And I'm going to just choose a Fantom. Okay, just choosing a Fantom. And we'll go to the bottom here, way at the bottom. And it's going to say downloads. And this is where we're going to want to go, downloads. So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to ask me, let me make this a little bit bigger. It's going to ask me, okay, there's the update, 1.50. So make sure, if you haven't done that, make sure you do that. But look, here's the drivers. Windows 10. We got more Windows. We got Mac. Here's what we need to see. We have the Mac 10.15, 10.14. I'm not sure what that is. And I have profile for MainStage. I'm not sure which Mac that I have. So let's learn where to find it. So I'm going to go ahead and move my cursor. Oops, not there. I'm going to go over here, right here, and I'm going to see if you guys can see. It might be out of screen. But the little Apple icon on the top left of the Macs, I'm going to click on that, and it's going to say, about this Mac. And this is going to tell me what OS this Mac is running. So I'm going to click on it, and in this one, it says it is running 10.14. 10.14. So that leads me to believe, click out of this, that I need to, which one do I need to get, Scott? I'm running 10.14. Probably
10.14. There it is.
But what if I get 10.15?
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. So this is a very important step, everybody. Make sure you go to the Apple icon on the top left of the computer, and you hit About My Mac. And that's going to tell you right over here where it says Mojave, it says the version, 10.14. So now that I have that, I am going to click on the link for 10.14 and, just follow the instructions here, installing the driver. And there you go, operating system.
And
go ahead.
Also note the troubleshooting. As of 10.13, High Sierra, Apple installed a security protocol that blocks third-party drivers and things like that until you, quote-unquote, allow them. If you were to click that orange link that Ed's showing on the screen right now, it would walk you through it if you ran into a problem. But we'll probably go over that. I just want you to be aware of it.
Yeah.
The other thing to keep in mind is that Windows 10 if the Phantom is set to vendor, which we'll go through in the USB driver section, once you connect it to the Windows 10 machine, it should download and install the driver automatically.
Yeah, so let's continue. So this is stuff we will probably run into on this install. So there's a good chance that my Mac will block this download. So we will go into the system preferences and show you how to get past that. All right, so going back to the computer, go down here, and I'm gonna say, yeah, I agree. Woohoo! Go ahead and click on it. Oops, click on it. All right, and I'm gonna download the file. Great. So it is downloading. Boom. Okay. I think it downloaded. And let me close this. All right. So there it is. You see it in the blue right there, the driver. And let me move this up a little bit so make sure you can, hopefully you can see. And you can see there it is right there. So I'm going to try and install it. Hopefully everything works. Okay. It's going to install. Okay, let's see. This package will run a program to determine. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And let's see what happens. Okay, and that's where I want to install it. And continue. Okay, and it's telling me, less than a megabyte of space. All right. Okay, put my password. Let's see, what's my password? I'm going to be like Kanye and put it all zeros. No, I'm just joking. It's not. Okay, cool. Great. So I'm installing. Okay, when it finishes, it says I'm going to have to restart my computer. Fine. Cool. And installing, running packages. And we're going to see once this is done. Let's see. Let it do it. Less than a minute. Yeah, this is the part where you just got to take your time. Don't go fast. Make sure you put in the proper OS, 10.14 in this case. And my Catalina Mac, it was 10.15. So you just got to take your time. It's all good. Let's see. And so let that go. So I'll talk to you guys while that's installing. It's registering all the stuff. And as soon as it's going, I'm going to restart it. And we're going to check it and see if it's in there. All right. So we'll do that. So it's still doing. This MacBook that I'm using is a 2012. So it's not the fastest Mac since it's almost 8 years old, or about 8 years old. But I figured this would be a good one to use because my Catalina just, right away. But this one is a little bit older in there. It does have 16 gigs of RAM on there, which I always, if you're going to do your production from a from a laptop, get as much RAM as possible. And then also this particular Mac has a 750 gig. I think it's just the regular 7200 RPM drive. No SSDs on this one, but I would also suggest, that you get SSD drives if you can, or an SSD external drive. So the solid state, for those of you that aren't sure what I'm talking about. Hello, DJ Jazz. All right, it's still going, and this is not the fault of the Phantom or the website. It's just taking it a minute to register, so we're just getting it going. Oh, okay, here we go. Here's what we wanted to see. Check it out. It says, there we go, system extension blocked. All right. This is probably what.
So this is.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Scott.
this is one message that you could definitely get, or you do the same thing after a reboot. So when you go ahead and hit open security preferences.
Okay, I'll do that now.
It's going to take you in there, and you'll see where you need to allow the driver.
All right, we're going to wait, let it do it, and Scott will walk me through it. Let's see. Now it says here, I have the lock. So do I have to?
You don't need the lock. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? Okay. And
see it down there where it says system has been blocked. Do you want to allow, Roland?
Okay.
You have an allow button. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hit the allow. All right. Let's allow. And let's see, it says system. So I'm going to say, yeah. I don't know who's TechSmith. I think that, I don't know that. So, okay. Okay, great. I think it did it. Let me see.
Yeah, and once that's done at that point, you should never have to deal with it again.
Yeah.
It's just on this operating system. If for some reason you're running a Phantom or Jupiter or anything else, an FA, and you're like, wow, it was working and now it's not working. One thing to ask yourself, did my computer update? Because if it did go to another operating system, guess what? You need a new driver install.
Absolutely.
And again.
And that is something we found when Catalina first came out. A lot of you were out there, you were updating to Catalina, yay! And then all of a sudden, all of your software and stuff wasn't working. So I know for us, a lot of us were waiting until we found word that our particular softwares had been updated for use with Catalina. All right, Scott, so right now on my screen it says the installation was successful, so I'm going to restart it.
Okay. Always have to restart and reboot.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with changing the USB driver in a keyboard. Like the Phantom, for instance, you have two options, generic mode or vendor.
Hold on.
Hold on yet. Show it?
Yeah, I'm going to show it. We're going to show everything. So I'm moving that to the trash.
General tab.
Yeah. We're not there yet. So I'm restarting my computer right now. And then while we're doing this, we're going to go back, and it's going to take my computer a minute to start. But once we get back in there, I want to go back to the website, and we're going to see what else we can download while we're doing it. Because I saw in there, Scott, there's the other one for the control interface, so we can have DAW control. And I think there was also the MainStage. So I'm saying, here, let me log into here again. Into the laptop to open it up.
Some of you may be asking, it's like, well, why just Logic and why MainStage and why not this and why not that? So basically what had happened is we approached a lot of different manufacturers of software and things like that. And Apple was the first to come back and say, hey, we're all in. What do we need to do? How do we get this to work? And at this time, that's why it's only Logic and MainStage, because Apple was really, really forthcoming in wanting to work with us to integrate the Phantom and now the Jupiter and the RD88 with MainStage and, of course, with Logic.
Yep. And I'm sorry, everybody. Look, my laptop is, you can't even see it. It's starting. This is a 2012. And this is my computer, my backup computer. And also this is a computer I use a lot when I'm capturing this kind of information for the YouTube Roland product support. So for those of you that are new, I think everybody's been on here enough. You do, hopefully on YouTube, we have another channel called Roland Product Support where myself and other Roland Boss product specialists will go in there and show you how to do specific things. But I haven't made this video yet on there, so I figured, hey, this is a good chance to cover it because we've been kind of busy and a lot of stuff is going on, and we've been producing a bunch of Jupiter content and Phantom more official Phantom content is coming, but I figured this was a good time to go over this because this takes me a little bit to film because I got a lot of things going on. All right, I'm almost there. Dun, dun, dun. Got to get out of the gray screen of death. It's almost there. Dun, 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 dun. This is the scary part. All right, let's see. It's coming on. Maybe I should probably update this too. Here we go. Now we have something, and it's still coming on. There we go. You should see it, and you can see the little spinny wheel. Hopefully that's working. Getting there. And like I said, after we get up here, Scott, I'm going to go back to Chrome, and we're going to see about the other drivers we need. Just go ahead and knock them out, so that way we have them all in there. So
sounds good.
Yeah. So we'll let the computer start up. And once again, everybody, when you're doing this, when you're installing all the drivers, take your time. Just take your time. Don't get angry. Don't get rushed. Stop what you're doing and just take it slow, okay?
And a big word to the wise. If you're doing something major, like updating an operating system or reconfiguring software or something like that, always do it on a work day between 8 and 5 p.m. so that if you need to get in touch with tech support, you can. I made a fatal error years and years and years ago with some software I was using that I decided to update it on the weekend, and it completely screwed my weekend work schedule out. I couldn't do anything. So that's just a side tip from me. Do it during business hours, and then that way if you run into a problem somewhere, you can always call or email tech support.
Absolutely. And then, so right now the Mac's going on there. Oh, real quick, I see we have a special guest on here, everybody. I see we have our looping artist, Kelly Morris. So if you want to see some killer looping using the RP loopers that we have from Boss, you can go to YouTube and look up IB Kelly Morris. IB Kelly Morris. Subscribe to her. She puts up some great content, really performance oriented. She's a killer performer, killer singer, and musician, and just a really nice person too. All right, so
Absolutely.
I'm going to, now that I have that, let me go back into Google Chrome, and we're going to go back to that website and see what other drivers we have. Let's see. Over here. Kelly, you owe me $5, by the way. Just FYI. Everybody subscribe to Kelly. Okay. Because we actually did some of her videos here in my studio, and it was a lot of fun. Okay. So I'm going back to Chrome right now, getting that hooked up, and as soon as I get that up, we'll go back to the website and find what we need in there. And I know this takes a little bit of time, but hey, what else are we doing? Hey, $5 plug. That's right, Walter. You tell her. So, all right. And hopefully soon, maybe this year, as soon as we're all okay, Venmo me. Now we're talking. So, after we're able to travel again a little bit more freely, we'll have Kelly in the studio and have her do some sessions. Maybe we can use Kelly with the Phantom or Jupiter. We can do one of her songs and stuff. Like I said, check her out at IB Kelly Morris on YouTube, and you're gonna, really kill her. All right. So I am getting back into Chrome here. Here we go. Almost there. All right, here we go. I know I saw somebody say on here I need to get something to speed up this MacBook, and I probably will go ahead and get that upgrade to the SSDs in here, and then defrag and all the other stuff. All right, here we go. So we're getting into the Roland website here. All right, I'll keep on talking nice about Kelly. She's gonna give me $10 now. Come on. All right, so I'm gonna go into the products as soon as it lets me. As soon as it loads up, like I said, CC Cleaner. Find the Mac version though. All right, I'll look that up. And see, come on. I'm waiting for it. Like I said, this is the part of updating where you just gotta take your time. Just gotta take your time and then get through it. And like Scott said, once we do this, it's done. It's done. You don't have to do it every single time. Only when you update your OS inside your computer. That's it. But like I said, during that time, have a cup of coffee, take your time. What did you say, Scott? Do it on a work day?
Do it on a work day. That way, if you run into a problem or computer crashes, you can get a hold of Apple. If you had questions on the Roland products, you can call Roland Product Support. It's always best to do that stuff if you need a helping hand or a lifeline. That's just my personal experience, is that I made that one mistake. I had a deadline and thought, I could update this, let's do it. And I wound up getting locked out of everything until Monday morning.
And that happens. That totally happens. I think we've all been there, and it is painful. All right. You know what? Come on, computer. Slow me down. But let's see here. See, it's going into my computer. It has the website up, but it's not letting me choose anything. Let me see if I can. Oh, here we go. I'll go through the search. I will go this way if you won't let me go.
The other way that you can go, Ed, is if you click up on support at the very, very top, you'll see updates and drivers. And when you click on that, then you can search all products alphabetically. Sometimes it's a quicker little shortcut.
That's good to know. And I just got it. I just did the search on the top right. And here we go. Phantom. Come on, click in there.
Phantom.
Don't you want the Phantom? I know. Fanta. All right. We're trying to get in there. And then look, here. This is a cool page while we're waiting. This Phantom in the middle where my cursor is, that was the original Phantom. It was only 76 note, and that one took SRJV cards. SRJV, the first one of the first early expansions, and I think that one was about the turn of the century, about 19. 99, maybe 2000. So
Yeah, I think it was about 2000. Phantom X came out in what, 2004?
I think
Phantom
2004.
G, 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this Phantom being another flagship in 2019, technically. So let me end. No. Let me see if anything else is running in the background. Because you guys ever do that on some of the computer stuff? You're like, stuff is running in the background and it doesn't need to be. Oh, here's something running. It's probably messing me up. Let me see now. Yep, I fixed it. Some goofy thing. All right, here we go. View product. We're going back into that product now. And now we'll go back where we were. And once again, I'm going to go to downloads. Downloads. And let's see, what else should we get, Scott? We should probably get. Do we need that driver?
I get the two the two plugins, one for Logic and one for MainStage. If you are on a Mac and have those, yeah, just to have them.
And this version 1.0.1 for Mac. No. Okay, so we're gonna.
No, that's for. Go ahead and click on that if you want. That's for earlier versions. So that's going to be High Sierra 1013.
Oh
and
yeah.
1012, which is Sierra.
Good. And here's where it says it: operating system. So what operating system was this again? For these
1012 is Sierra, and 1013 is High Sierra.
Yeah. So those are for all of you individuals that are using some of the older computers. That's the link there. So that one there. Okay. Back to downloads. Good. So good questions. That's why it's good we're doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the control surface plugin for Logic right there. And that supports 10, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So, yes, I agree.
The Logic X needs to be at what version or higher for this to work?
We'll check that in a second. And that's a good question. Once we open up Logic, we're going to take a look at Logic and see what version I'm running, just to make sure. So that's a good one. So this is all stuff. This is good for all of us to kind of learn. And let's see. Cool. Okay, y'all stop talking about Kelly. This is about me. No, just joking. You can talk about Kelly. All right, let's see here. Okay, I think that one downloaded. And, let's see. I think in here, Scott, you said that it says support, and I made it bigger so you guys can see it. It supports Logic X 10.4.4 or later, okay? So everybody remember that. That might also be an issue if you're running an old version of Logic. So this control surface plugin supports Logic Pro X 10.4.4 or later, okay? So, okay, cool. And let's back up real quick. We're going to grab another one, and then we'll install both of them, and then we will start plugging in the Phantom to there. All right, and I'm going to grab the Logic MainStage plugin. Is that the... No, wait. Where am I? I did the wrong one. Downloads. I'm going to plug in the profile for MainStage. I'm going to grab that one, too, while we're here. Is everybody with me? Hopefully we are following along, and here it is for the MainStage. I agree. Download that file. Great. And then once we have all this, we shouldn't have a need to go on the internets and grab that. So here I'm going to go ahead and open that first one. Whoops. Open up that first one where we got the Logic Pro. There it is, right there. And there it is right there. I'm going to go ahead and install it. Get that installed. Great. It's going to do its thing. And I'm going to just install it. Here we go. Great. Okay. Now, let's see, move to trash. Okay, great. Now I'm going to go get the other one that we did right here, and that one should be for the MainStage. Great, there's the folder, MainStage, and I'm going to install that profile. Okay. Great. Install. All right. Hey, Scott, do you suggest I restart my computer so all this can?
Nope.
Nope.
You don't have to. Not with these profiles, but if you want to, you can. You've got so many things you want to go over in this episode.
Yeah.
So you figure out what you think is going to work best.
Okay,
You're the man.
I think we are good. I think we are good there. So, all right, before we get into hooking up the USB, let's go ahead and take a look at the Fantom here. So here's my Fantom. I'm going to go inside the Fantom, the screen, so you guys can see, and we're going to talk about how it needs to be inside the Fantom. So I'm going to press the menu button right here, and I'm going to cursor down to System. Okay, cool. Now that I'm in System, and we see all of my tabs here, and if we look, it's the General tab. I think that's what I have selected already. It's the first one on the left. And Scott, it's right there, right? The USB driver.
Yep.
And if you don't have that, you can use the dial wheel or press Enter, and you can see there it's like, which one do you want to use? Scott, why would I use vendor over generic? Can you help me with that?
So, yeah, absolutely. Generic is going to run. It's going to run as class compliant and MIDI only. So if you just want to do MIDI through USB and kind of plug and play, generic mode is usually the way to go. It's also the correct setting if you wanted to connect an iPad directly using the USB B side into like a camera adapter kit or whatever for an iPad. Then you can control the MIDI. Audio would not happen, but the MIDI would. The vendor mode is going to allow audio and MIDI to travel through the USB. And with the Fantom, as Ed said before, it's going to shoot out 16 stereo tracks. So each part in a scene can have its own track if you wanted to for audio, which is pretty awesome. But again, if you make a change in the USB driver in any of our keyboards, from generic to vendor or vendor to generic, after you write the system setting, you have to reboot the computer, or reboot the keyboard.
Say it,
Scott. It has to go through that cycle. Yeah, sorry. I'm thinking computer in my brain. I'm getting all kinds of notifications too. So, but yeah, you always have to reboot it and then start fresh from there.
Okay, so like Scott said, if I put it in generic mode, that's just MIDI. Okay, that's for MIDI only. And I want vendor, like he said, for audio and MIDI. So I'm going to select vendor over here, press OK, and then I'm going to press the right button that's going to system write it. And I think I'm going to restart the Fantom real quick, get that restarted so that way I make sure everything goes correct. Cool, so I'll restart the Fantom. And then while the Fantom is restarting, I'm going to go to the computer here, and I'm going to bring up Logic. All right, where's Logic? Logic is here at the bottom, and let's get Logic started. Oh, but I didn't hook up. I didn't hook up the USB. I'm going to go ahead and do that now while everybody's getting loaded up. So I have Logic getting ready to load up, and then I have the Fantom's just about started up, and we're going to get USB hooked up. Just regular USB cable. All right, cool.
Hey, real quick, question from Jim. He says, hey, guys, I've looked through all the system settings, and I can't seem to find a local off switch so you don't get MIDI doubling when playing the Fantom through a DAW. Did I miss it? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. There may be a local off in the MIDI or the general section.
Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look.
Yeah. You also have to remember that the Fantom goes about doing external stuff differently. The buttons right above the sliders, if they're red, they're internal sounds. If they're green, by holding shift and hitting that button, if it goes green, it's external only, and you can tell which ones to transmit on which MIDI channels. That eliminates the doubling and everything else. But if you want both, if it's only like one part, like MIDI channel 1 or zone 1, you would turn that button off. And as long as that little red button at the very, very top, right above the knobs, is selected, that would be the internal sound that you would hear from the Phantom, and it would also be transmitting on that same MIDI channel. So it's a little bit different the way that we do this, but show them how to change it to an external.
Yeah, just like this. My name's Ed, Scott. My name's Ed. All right, cool.
Hey, you.
Hey, you. So hold down Shift, and we're talking about right here. So naturally, it's at red. Press and hold Shift, hit it. Now it's green for external. Just it. So this is for everybody. If you're running internal sounds, they're red. If you're running external, say from MainStage or an external USB device, such as whatever the keyboard, you got to turn this green. And then that way, that will go ahead and control those sounds of that external, okay, being it software-based or hardware-based.
Greg Bosner just popped up and said it's in system under sound for local off.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. Look at this community. Let's do it. So we're going to see my screen here and go into menu, and it's in system. And where did he say it was? Dun, 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 dun. Oh, did he say it was in MIDI?
He said no. It's system and then under sound.
Here we go at the bottom. Right there, local switch. See, I'm moving it. It's right there at the top. Right there at the top.
Local off.
Yep. And so you guys will be good. All right. So I have my USB. I have Logic just about set. And before we plug in the USB, let's take a look at my Logic and make sure I'm using the correct one. And let's see. I'm going to hit Logic right here. So it pops down that menu. And it's going to, oh, it's not going to, I got to start it first. But then we're going to go about when it says about Logic Pro X. So hold on one second. Let's go ahead. And I am going to plug in the Fantom real fast. And let's get this plugged in. Oops. What are you, new? Where does it plug in? All right, here we go. And at Roland, one of the requirements is to be able to plug in stuff without actually seeing it. Let's see if I fail. Yay! All right, cool. And then now here's the USB, and I'm going to pick a USB port here and just plug right in. All right, great. And I might, before I go all the way into Logic, I'm going to go into my system settings right here, system preferences. And I want to take a look and see if my computer recognizes the Fantom, because that could be really cool, because then I can use my Fantom to play back anything from my computer. So here's my computer, and I went into System Preferences, hit Sound, and looky, there it is, Fantom right there. So it's already recognized. Pretty cool. Let me take a look at any questions. Everybody good? Everybody with me? I know, this episode we're not really being too silly, but this is actually really cool. So this is pretty neat. All right, cool. So we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. All right, so we got that. Now let's get back to the computer stuff. Okay, my Fantom should be already set. Let me just get to the top screen, and then now my computer is. Let's see what happens. See if it comes up. Here, let me go ahead and oh, look right over there. See that? A little bit of delay for you guys. It says, do you want to use the audio device Fantom? And yes, I do. That quickly. Okay, great. And now I am going to go ahead, before I go into, it's going to use that device. But before, I'm going to go ahead and go into About Logic Pro X. This is where we're going to find out what version of Logic we're using. So just hit that, About Logic Pro X. And you can see here, it says the version that I am using currently is version 10.4.7. And I believe, Scott, it was 10.4.4 was the lowest it would use. Is that correct, Scott? You still there?
I think that's correct. Yeah. I think that's correct.
Cool. So we're
fine.
good. We're good to go. All right. So let me go back into Open Logic. Great. Close that little window. And I'm going to start a new session. I'll go ahead and do it this way rather than the fast keys. So I'm going to go New right here. Let it start up. Yep. And I haven't used this computer for Logic in a while. Okay, great. There it is. There's my Logic. All right, here we go. Let's see here. What do we want to do? Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and do audio. What should we do, Scott? Should we do... Oh, let's look at this first. I hit audio, and it is using on the device, it is using Phantoms right there. And on the input, 6, 7, and 8. And then device on the output, 6, 7, and 8. So, and then when I hit audio and I hit audio input, check this out, everybody. This is pretty cool. These are all the ins and outs from the Fantom. Is that correct, Scott? You see if you take a look at this.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So if you see, when you see things that just say input 1, or down below you see input 1, 2, 1 and 2 is stereo. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know this, but some people forget. And I've dealt with a customer recently that was trying to record an RD2000. Really, really nice guy. But he was only using one input and couldn't figure out why it didn't sound as good in the recording as it did in his headphones when he was playing the product. So it's making sure the stereo stuff is set up. I mean, we're keyboard guys. We want to hear everything in stereo and use that stereo field. So everything below that shows 1-2, 3-4 is the individual zones output in stereo.
Oh, are you back to me? Okay, so cool. So let's see. Let's have some fun. So what do you guys want to do? I kind of want to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and choose. I want to have, should we do 8? I'm going to do 8. Number of tracks, 8. Okay, even though the Fantom can actually do 16 stereo tracks, which if we take a peek again on here, that... So you see input up to 32. So that's 16 times 2 is 32, everything stereo. But let's go ahead and just do 8. I think so, Scott. Let's do 8. So we're going to do 8 right here, ascending, and let's see what we're going to have, what we might have to, adjustment we might have to make. So I'm going to say, okay, create, and I could have done 16, but I just chose to do 8. All right, so there's my stuff here, and let's take a look at my settings. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here's my Logic. That's number 1. So it's using in 1 and 2 right there. Let's hear this one. This was using 3 and 4. And we're just double checking. 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, everything's looking good. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You know what? I am going to go ahead and save this, pre-save this. I'm going to save this as a template. What do you think about that? That's probably a good time saver for the future. Just save it as a template. And I'll just save it to the desktop. And I'm going to call this my Fantom, and I'll just call it 8-part because it's the top parts. So 8-part. And so I know that I have everything set. All right, everybody still with me? I hope so. I know a bunch of nerd stuff today as some of my friends. And shout out to my friend, my number 1 girl, Gelsey G. The G out in Southern California. Love you and miss you so much. All right. And I guess her parents, they're pretty cool people too. Anyway, so let's... Oh, my uncle's calling me. Sorry, uncle. Decline. Okay. So let's go into here. Now let's take a look at the Fantom. And bear with me. Let's go ahead and see if I can do both. Give me 1 second. I should be able to do... Let's see here. Hold on. Oh, there you can kind of see. All right, so we got the Fantom. I'm going to choose maybe this Jupiter Explored. Can you guys see that? The Fantom is choosing individual parts. And I chose all 8 parts are on top those are set to record, but what we're doing is just, let's see what we get. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and record. Let me take off my metronome of Logic, and let's see what happens. I'm going to press it. Let's go record. Oh. Recording. And now I'm going to stop. is everybody hearing this? Just let me know. Let me stop right here on Logic. Okay. And let's see what we have here. A backup on my Logic. Let me take it off the screen. And let's see what we have. There we go. Okay. Now, why isn't it playing? Why isn't it playing, Scott? Probably because... Scott, you still there? Okay.
What you want to do is you want to check your audio device and make sure that the Phantom is also the output device.
Yep, and it is, but I might have to go into here, into the screen. I press that button, and I make sure the USB in and out is set. And so let's take a quick peek in here. And I might say, you know what? I want you to come in to here. There we go. And now let's try it. Oh, let's see. USB input level right there. And here's where we're gonna check some levels real quick. There, USB audio. Because we got it. We're almost there. Let me just check. All right, let's see here. Let's see. So we're going to check real quick, and let's see. What screen am I at? All right. So here we go. We got the screen. USB audio. We got it. USB audio mix in parallel. We got it on mix. USB audio in and out. And we can go in. I guess that would be the setting. Can you see the screen, Scott? So, oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
here's the
later.
Screen. Sorry about that. So I went ahead. To get into this screen, I went ahead and held Shift, and I hit USB audio, and it took me to this screen here. Okay. Once again, for you that are watching, I went Shift, hit USB audio, and then that took me to this screen right there. And then I can go ahead and look at my settings and just to kind of check everything. Check everything here and make sure we're correct. And I think we're correct. I'll let this catch up so Scott can see. I went ahead and set the USB audio in and out select. USB audio, I want USB audio to come in. And there we go. I think we're good. And now let me go ahead and check my preferences of Logic to make sure they're right. Okay, preferences. And we're going to go to audio right there. And yep, input device, output device is Fantom.
Okay.
So that's
so
good.
Then the only other thing it would be is possibly just the tracks. In Logic, sometimes you have to tell the tracks to be able to hear them.
Okay.
So either look at the little eye or turn off the record.
Oh,
see,
you know what?
happens.
It might be the eye. Let's go ahead and take a look. So I'm hitting the eye in Logic. Let's see. And then let me make some more adjustments over here on the Fantom. Make sure Shift got that. Okay, and it says we have it. It's getting levels, and I tell you what. Let me go ahead, and this is good for everybody to see. Let me go ahead and go to my music area of stuff that I already have, and let me go ahead and make sure I have some music in here that we can kind of just something, and let me find something that won't get bad copyright. You know what I mean? Gotta watch all that stuff. And we'll go ahead and find something in here.
So this is a great example of what, all of us we could run into. Sometimes it's just something that's a little setting that we're overlooking. It's hard for me to see where I'm sitting, but yeah, I ran into this in Logic before, and I went, oh yeah, I just need to do this, and I forget what that is. I'm not a Logic expert, but that's usually the case. It's something small.
Yep. And
Back to you, Ed.
No, it's all good. No, I'm going over here to. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got audio. I don't want to play this tune, but I just make sure I got audio. That's all I'll play. So we got audio. We have audio from the computer. Let me check this chat to see what you guys are saying. Yep. Oh, you lost me when you turn on the computer. Go back to watching TV. No, I'm just joking. All right. Let's see. I like Sam's funny. All right, so we have audio. So everybody saw. I just went ahead and pressed that, and so we have audio from the computer to the Fantom. Okay, and just so you can see the settings that I have it on the green, which that one would be USB in out select, and I selected it for in, so it's coming in. So that's good. That's a good sign. All right, so let me go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and re-record the tracks. I have a sneaking suspicion. Check this out. So I'm going to go ahead and set this, because right now this is controlling my USB out audio. Right now it's coming in because it's green, so it's coming out from the outside world into the Fantom. I'm going to switch it back by holding Shift to out, and this will control my USB audio out of the Fantom into the computer. So I'm going to come into this track again, and I'm just going to delete everybody and see if I can make sure that they're coming in hot. I might not have had them coming in hot, so I'm going to delete everything. And this is a great learning experience for everybody. Just kind of cool. We get everything going, and good. So I have my Fantom. It's red, so this controls the USB. That might have been a problem too, Scott. Let me go ahead and see if I have everything's hotter. So if we take a look, right here. I'm going to bring up this level, and you can see on audio 1 how it's overdriving. But look, I'm bringing that down, and you see how the audio of the Fantom, since it's going over USB out, I'm controlling it right here. So that might be something. So let's try recording again. But this time I'm going to make sure that I have my signal going out of USB into the computer a lot stronger. All right, so I'm going to press record, the R, got it recording. And I'm pretty sure you guys can see a huge difference there. I'll let it catch up. You can see a huge difference in the amount of signal that was coming in. Okay, great. And let's go ahead and play back. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Okay. And, but this time I'm going to turn this button now, Shift to green, because now I want it to be my volume for my USB audio coming from USB, the computer that's coming into the Fantom. This is actually now my volume for that. So let's go ahead and take a look. So I'm going to press play, and I'm going to hold it down. Hopefully it works. Let's check it out. So here it comes. Oh, it's still not working. I wonder why. Okay.
Look at the track inspectors and see if it's pointing in the right direction. That's probably what it is.
Let's take a look at the track inspector right here. So I'm clicking on track 1, and let's see here. Track, it says, so in is 1 and 2, if that's all good. And then out, it says stereo out, and I just clicked on it. And, okay, output, stereo output, it says stereo output. So that's good. And you know what? Let me check my Fantom also, because our Fantoms that we use in my studio, we're always experimenting on. So I'm going to go into the menu here. Oh, you know what? I need to go. What do you need, Scott? Let me see. I'm going to go and check out this scene. And I'm going to go menu, and I'm going to go into the scene edit. And I want to check and see if I have this particular scene set to go to out through maybe another main out or sub out. That could be it too, for me. Okay, hold on. Shift, go in here. And I'm checking in my outputs here. Oops, did I miss them? Here we go. Okay, here's the problem, Scott. I think here's the problem. Okay, you should see this in a minute. I have set right here, I have these going out to different outputs. It was me, the scene I had going out to different. So
yeah, it needs to go out to main.
Yep. So let's see, everybody. This is what I'm talking about. I do some bonehead stuff, because this, like I said, this particular Fantom is one that I use for experimentation, and we're kind of figuring stuff out on it, and so it's all over the place. I should have probably just factory reset it, but I have certain files in here that I haven't backed up yet. All right, let's give it one more go. Let's see if it works. Survey says, and I have my USB audio for green, so it controls what's coming from outside of the Fantom in. In this case, it is the Logic. All right, let's press the space bar, and I'm going to control the level here. Oh, it's still not working. Oh, that is crazy. I have the signal. Let's see, what am I doing? Let me go ahead and try.
I guarantee you it's in Logic. It's something in Logic that's not pushing it back through, that's not on.
Let me go ahead and check real quick. I turn into odd in here. And let me go ahead and try turning this back to red. Okay, no, that's what I thought. All right, let's take a look at here. This is real good. It's a little troubling, but it's so good. So I'm going to look at my preferences right there. And let's take a look. Audio in and out is the Fantom. So that is correct. Look at this. Output 3 and 4. Okay, this is good. So I know this will take you guys a little bit to catch up, but check this out. All right. So I wasn't getting audio from Logic. Okay, wasn't getting audio from Logic. My first problem was my particular Fantom on that scene. I had it going through the IFX and not through the main. So I went out through the scene into the scene edit and adjusted that particular scene to make sure it's going out of main outs 1 and 2. Now that everything looked correct, but it still wasn't working. So it's like, well, okay, as Scott mentioned, it's probably Logic. So as we looked into Logic here, and I went in to my preferences, and I went into audio right there. My audio devices are Fantom, but I went into the I/O assignments, the ins and the outs, and look at that. On the output, it is set to 3 and 4. Outputs 3 and 4, when it should actually be 1 and 2. That's where it should be. All right, so let's give that a shot. What do you think, Scott? That's probably the issue.
That's probably it. Like I said, a lot of the times that we run into little things, and I'm sure you guys go through it too, it's something small that was overlooked. And give it a play, and let's see where we're at.
All right, let's give it. Let me back it up, and I'm gonna go ahead. Hold on, let me switch it back in here. And all right, here we go. That's set for the green. Back it up. Oh, yay!
So stuff like this is kind of cool that this happened and we went through it. It's like what I was explaining earlier. You run into things. Tutorial videos and other things that we've done, are done as perfect as possible and to be instructional.
Absolutely.
But you don't see stuff like this that we go through, especially in the beginning of a product or a prototype or something like that. So I think that's cool, and I hope you guys at least sat through it and enjoyed the troubleshooting part of it.
Yeah.
Back to you, Ed.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, so you see, I had no idea that was going to happen because I haven't used this laptop for this purpose in about a year or 2 years, and I don't know why. That's one thing about computer. When we're recording into a DAW, we have to check different things. Okay, let me get that out of there. We have to check out different things and take time. Don't get mad. Don't cuss at the Fantom. Don't cuss. Just take your time. And like I said, in my particular Fantom, my scene was set to go. Each one of those first zones was set to go out, not out of the main out. So that was my fault. But then, since that wasn't working, once I figured out it was my fault, I went into Logic, and then I found Logic. Made sure first that the Fantom was the input and the output device, but then we've also found out that the Fantom was also not the Fantom, that Logic was sending the main outputs out of output 3 and 4 and not 1 and 2. All right, so hopefully you guys, if you're following into stuff like that, you can go ahead and diagnose that yourself. So let's take a closer look. Now that we got it fixed, Scott, now that we got it, let's have a little bit of fun. I'm going to record again.
Real.
Go ahead.
Real quick, when you were in the USB output mode, you have the option of mix or parallel. So if you can show that.
Sure. So I'm going to go
mix.
Shift. Hold on. I'm going to get in there. Shift, and I'm going to hit this button, and it's going to take me, going to take me right here, right there. Shift, and here's the screen so you guys can see. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, so mix is basically on outputs 1 and 2, it's going to be everything. So if you're running a sequence or you've got a big layer or something like that, it's all going to be under the 1 and 2 inputs. So you'll hear everything combined, just like you're hearing it on the Fantom. If you go into parallel mode, then the first zone is inputs 1 and 2, the second zone is 3 and 4, and so on and so forth, all the way up to 15 and 16. Now, keep in mind that even in mix mode, 1 and 2 will be everything, but then 3 and 4 would be zone 2. It just takes that one out. But so depending on how you're recording or what you're doing, you may want to set the USB to mix. You may want to set it to parallel.
Good. So that's definitely something we want to look at. So I tell you what, I'm going to keep mine on mix. Was that what you suggest, Scott? Just keep it on mix. And I just
keep it on mix if you want everything combined in just that first track, that 1 and 2. If you want to keep everything separate, put it in parallel.
Okay. And this is for recording wise, the USB audio. Okay. So I would want it in parallel. So, yeah. All right, so cool. Check this out, everybody. This is fun. I'm going to go ahead and delete all this stuff that we just did, this first one. And let's see, I'm going to delete these tracks, and let's do another one. Yep, delete, and let's delete. All right, I'm going to use in the Fantom, I'm going to go back into the Fantom, and I'm going to choose this track called Classic Trap. And we're going to record it directly into Logic. This should be pretty cool. And then we're going to see, this is a good example of how we can use the Fantom to go ahead and make our tracks and get it set up, but then an easy way to dump everything into Logic or into Ableton or whatever we want to use. And only thing we're using right now is the Fantom as an audio MIDI interface. We're not even using DAW control yet. So this is just, so in this mode that I'm showing, it will work in other DAWs. Wouldn't you say that's correct, Scott?
Yeah, it will definitely work in other DAWs like that. The only difference is, and Ed will probably show you real briefly at some point, is the DAW control. That's the only thing that's different with that Logic profile, but everything else works identical. Yeah,
so what we're showing you now is how we have it set up. That'll work in all DAWs, okay? I've tested it in Ableton. Ableton, every DAW has a slightly different workflow to get the same outcome, okay? So you just have to know your DAW and then know how the Fantom's set up. So, all right, so this time I'm going to go ahead and show Classic Trap right here and right there, and then we're going to record it, the 8 parts, because it's set up with just the 8 zones on top simultaneously. So let's go ahead and get that. I'm going to go ahead. I don't even need to go, but I'll go ahead and put it so you guys can see the pattern. So you can see the patterns here, but I could just have it play. So I'm going to press record right here. Here, I'll go back to the split screen. And, oops. Yeah, I can just have it right here. There we go. So you guys can see the split screen just for fun. All right, I'm going to press record on my Logic. It's recording, and I'm going to press the play button on the Fantom and watch what happens. All right, so we just recorded what was going on inside the Fantom, that song that we did. And if we had chosen to use some of the pad modes, some of the newer pad modes that we have available, which are, the new pad modes are pattern play and variation play, we could have used those and streamed it live into Logic. All right, now let's take a look at Logic here and see what we got. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solo that first one. I don't know if that first one doesn't seem like it has anything. That has no track.
No, there was nothing on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the third one I can see it. It has something. So let me just move it over a little bit. There we go. And let's see what we have on the third track. Cool. So that's all that one has. Let's go ahead and solo that fourth track and see what we have. Let's see what that is. So that's cool. And let's take a look at the next one. Oh, look, this one looks like probably just a bass drum. Let's take a look. Oh, no, it's like a little blippity blip. Let's take a look. Great. And so as you guys are seeing, I'm going in here real fast and just dumped everything, just audio live. Let's take a look at this. Looks like another little blip. Oh yeah. So that sounds like that was obviously some samples. And let's take a look at this next one, which is probably the drums right here. Let's listen. So what does everybody think about that? Does everybody follow along on that one? That was, in my opinion, first time I saw that was huge, because in the old days of workstations, we would have to go in there and have this all as MIDI, no audio possible. And we would have to take all that MIDI and then dump down individually each of the MIDI tracks, going solo each of the MIDI tracks into an audio interface and bring it in. But look, we just did that live with up to 8 in there. Let's go ahead and answer some questions right now and see if anybody has anything. Let's see anybody. Let me follow in there. Anybody? Let's see. I see some friends. Rob E watching. What's up, Rob? And I see, yeah, blippity blippity. Exactly, blippity blippity. And let's see. Oh, here's a question at the bottom. Let me see. So, what if you want to stay in that performance and record one of the track again? Let's see. So, Wolf Cry, what if I want to go in there and say, I want to go ahead and I want to do a do-over of a certain track or maybe another part? Let me know what you mean on there. Here's also what I could probably do, and I didn't really do any kind of syncing up with Logic. I could always go into Logic and apply that flex tuning, so that way it'll find the tempo for me. And that being said, I can always just bring stuff in there and just line it up. Let's go ahead and try that. I'm gonna go. I put Logic. I'm gonna have Logic start. There we go. I'm gonna have Logic start here in measure 15, and I'm gonna go into my Fantom here, and I'm going to switch the Fantom. I'm going to do it let me put the iPad down. I'm going to go into pad mode here, and let's see. What pad mode? I'm going to use variation play. Right, Scott? That'll be good. So
yeah, that'd be a good one, just so you can go through the lines.
So look, right now my computer's kind of in the way of that, but you guys can see this roll. You see how it's switching? And I'm going through the different variations. All right, so I just went through some different variations. So what if I wanted to come in here and I say I want to have... Okay, so... Oops. There's too much going on. Hold on. Okay, so let's say I want to go ahead and have this section here. Okay, I already pre-selected it, and I want to go ahead and record it in Logic. I might just go into that section. I'll press, let's see, go ahead and press record in Logic and let it go, and then I'll press play on here. All right, I just recorded that section, and if I wanted to, I would probably go ahead and trim them, because they're a sample at that point. I'm gonna go into this section, and now using my my pads of the Fantom. Let's find another section. I want this first section. Sounds like a basic kind of bass kind of thing in the drums. Let's record that now. So same thing. I'm going to come into here. And I have it in another section right here. Start on 25, and I'm going to press record, and then I'm going to press play on my Fantom. So we see there, I just recorded that other section, so I can come back into here, and I have my Fantom set so I can control what's coming in. Here's the first section I recorded, right here. And here is that next section I recorded, but that breakdown section. Very, very quick. Now, if I wanted to go in here, and maybe do it live, because that's, I think, what a lot of you are going to end up doing, is go ahead and switch different sections live. I can use once again that variation play mode and just record it live. Let's go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
Lost your camera.
Oh.
Lost your camera.
Lost my camera.
The other thing, too, is that if you don't want to track everything individually like this, again, you can just set that USB output to mix and just record on 1 and 2, and it would capture the entire thing. So, again, it depends on your situation and what you're doing, but this is just really, really, really awesome to see how it tracks individually.
Now, question, Scott. What do you now? Let's just for everybody out there. If I were to go into there, and let's see, shift. Whoops. If I was to go into there, into that screen again, and that was in the. That was where was that mixer again? That was in the
shift USB audio.
Yeah, shift USB audio. Thank you. Okay, whoops, pressed the wrong button. Shift USB audio. Okay, so that means, Scott, just to make sure we understand, if I do everything in mix, that means that all of this track that I did, no matter the 1 zone up to 16 zones, when it goes into Logic, if I have it on mix, it's going to take all of that, which could potentially be up to 16 stereo tracks. It's going to say, no, it's 1 stereo track. Is that what you're saying?
Sort of. Basically what it does is it takes the main output of the Fantom and throws it into 1 and 2 input.
Yeah, so everything
else after that can be individual, but not the first zone. So the second zone would record on its own track. So
let's do this, everybody, just so we can check and we make sure we have a clear understanding of what Scott is saying. I'm going to put the Fantom into mix on the USB audio, and then I'm going to go ahead and let's go back. Let's see, exit out of here. I'm going to go back into my song by pressing pattern, and I'm going to take, I guess it's that next to last one. Let me see here. I'm going to take that main hook there, and I'm going to record it. We already went back into the USB audio, and I had it for mix. So what Scott's saying is if I go ahead and record that, it's going to take all of that and turn it into just a stereo. Let's go ahead and just check and make sure that is the case. And this is just that, and this is to make sure that we all have a clear understanding of that. So I'm going to keep everything on my Logic. Everything is recording, but let's see what goes into the Fantom. And I've never done this, and it's always good just to, hey, let's see what happens. All right, so I press record on Logic. Logic is recording, and I'm going to press play on my Fantom. And it's still bringing it all in, Scott. That's interesting. So let's go back into here and make sure it's not me. Oh, I had it unselected.
Yeah, so what it's doing is inputs 1 and 2, it's everything. Everything's sitting there. Yeah. And then everything after that will be separated.
Let's try. Okay, then it's my fault again. Let's try it again. I see what you're saying. So, okay, let's record one more time. And I'll play it one more time. And I think I understand what happened here. Let's take a look. All right, I see what's going on. So if we look here, Scott is absolutely correct. If we look in the original track we did right here, that had, look at track 1 had nothing on it, okay? But now, if we look over here, track 1 has this, but then there's still stuff going on. Let's solo that track 1 and see what that sounds like. And I think if we're correct, that should have everything. Let's take a listen. Yeah, so that has everything exactly. So mix, as Scott was saying, mix takes everything that's on there and throws it to the main outputs 1 and 2. And we're talking in the USB audio. We're not talking about how the Fantom reacts, in a live situation like that. So now, if we were to go in here and solo some of the other parts, we still are going to get separation. But if we wanted to just do a mix down, we would do it in mix. And there's individual. Yep. Go ahead, Scott.
A lot of times when you're recording, you may not want to separate all the zones in your layer, but you have that option, which is really, really cool. So if you're just recording and you've already got something that you've layered up or split, and you just want to record that grouping or whatever you want to call it that's in that the scene, then this is what you do. You only need to set up one track, and it just needs to be 1 and 2 input, and it captures that layer in one shot instead of it being separate. Yep. But if you're using the sequencer, or you want things to be individual so that you can go back and change it or add effects or do anything in your DAW, then you have that option to go individually. So that's the difference between mix and parallel.
All right, cool. So let's do this, everybody. I'm going to delete all this that we're doing right here, and I'm going to delete it. And we're going to find another scene in here and just kind of play along. Let's find
that light brass, that light shade brass or whatever is a 7-layer.
Oh, I see it.
And it's all the same stuff, but that's a good example if you were to record something.
Okay, this is a great example. So if we take a look, there is the top of my Fantom. That's just a big old scene. And if we take a look now, I'll put it in the split so you guys can see. We can see Logic here. Look, different things depending probably on velocity or where they are. So, and it looks like it's going pretty hot into my computer. So I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what? Let's go ahead and turn the USB. Go into here and turn it to red. And I'm going to just go ahead and check my levels. And you can see I have it turned all the way down, so nothing's going out of the USB into the computer. I'm going to bring it up, and you're going to see how it affects in Logic. So check this out. Because this, honestly, Scott, this could be some of the issues people are having. They don't know that this needs to be up to send out Fantom signal out of the USB into your recording.
Or that you can control it that way. If you're not coming in hot enough or too hot or whatever, it's very easy to control right now.
Yep. And so see here, I'm playing lightly, playing hard to make sure. Okay, that looks like a good level. Getting everything hot inside Logic. All right, I think we're good to go. So let's see. Let's see what we get. Press record in Logic and... All right, so now we have a nice signal in Logic right there. So
now, what were you in? Were you in mix or parallel when you shot?
Good question. Let's take a look, everybody. So once again, I'm going to go Shift USB, and I was in parallel. So
okay, so each zone is its own thing. Now, if you turn it to mix and do the same thing, you know what the result's going to be.
Yeah, that means all of those different zones will be, I guess, summed into audio 1, which is 1 and 2. Yeah,
duplicate the main output. Exactly what you're hearing is what it's going to duplicate.
yeah. So let's take a look real quick. Let's take a listen and see what's happening now. So just play it back real fast. And if I remember once again, if I want to adjust how loud my audio from the USB is going into the Phantom, I can go ahead, hold Shift, turn it green, and now I have control of that volume of the MacBook. So let's take a listen, and I'll have control right here. Okay, so I got that there. So now let's take a look at the individual ones. All right, so back it up real fast, and have that going. So that's good. And let's take a look at this one. What do we have? What a great way to kind of audition, see which sounds work within the layer. And then let's take a look at this one at the bottom. Let's see what that guy's doing. Okay, unselect these guys, and let's see what is going on. And it's so funny when you put all of those together. When you put them together, we get such a big sound.
It's a great sound. I absolutely love that scene.
So that quickly. All right, so I hope this helps you out on this part of the Phantom. Is everybody with me? I'm going to take this moment to kind of answer any questions because we've been kind of having some fun showing you. And it was kind of neat. I'm glad that we had some issues, some my fault, some Logic. Like, what are you doing, Logic? I don't know how that happened. But it was kind of fun that we actually shown you how we kind of go through issues and kind of figure it out. So just like I said, once again, just kind of take your time. Any questions right now? Let us know what's going on, and then I'll show DAW control. So I haven't shown DAW control yet, which at this time is only for Apple Logic. So we'll show that. Well, I'll wait for some. I'll see that. I'll see. I'll see what's going on here. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and press DAW control on the Phantom and see what we get. So, obviously, the Phantom is working with my MacBook here. So, let's see DAW control and see what happens. So, press DAW control. And let's see, it's right there. It says, please connect to the PC. Okay. Let's try it one more time. Let me see what's going on here. It says, please connect. All right. We'll see what's going on with DAW control. And right now, it is not recognizing. Let me try it again.
It might be the profile. Yeah, it might be the Logic profile. It's not in there seeing it. Because we did install that, yes.
Yeah, we did install that. It might not be in there. I'm looking inside my Logic right now if there's a way I can do that. Also, it could be. Let me check real quick. Let's see, there's Logic Remote. Well, that's not it. And I'm seeing if there's anything that I missed on there. So, in there. Let's see. There's download updated sounds. Open sound library. I'm not sure why that's not working on this one. Okay. You know what? Let me look into that. But the cool thing is we got Logic working with the Phantom and going ahead and doing audio. I'll tell you what, at this time, if there's no further questions, I would like to see if I can go ahead and get Jim, or let me know if you're available, and so I can just give you a quick call and add you onto here. And we can get Jim's opinion about what's going on for all of our musicians that are out there touring and unfortunately are not touring anymore at this time, but hopefully they will return to the touring stage. Let me get up Jim's number real quick. All right, great. And Jim, are you there on on here. I'm going to give Jim a call and see if we can get him in here. Hold on, Scott. I'm going to add Jim to our call and see if we can get him on the line. And let's see. Hold on. Boy, I hope I'm not one of those people that says the number out loud. No, I'm just playing. Jim's going to be like, bro, what are you doing? Okay, no, almost did it, see? Just from being a smart aleck. Okay, let's see if we can get Jim on the line. Hey, Jim.
What's happening?
Hey, let me add Scott to this call. Here we go. Hold on. Okay, Scott and Jim, you should be on the call.
Yes.
Hey.
Hey,
What's happening?
cool. Hey, Jim, welcome to our little episode, our little coronavirus synth expo clinic. We're doing, having some fun. Let me ask you this. So for those of you that don't know, Jim, who are you and what do you do?
Well, oh my gosh, that's a long question. So for about almost 25 years now, I've been keyboard player, musical director for an artist named Michael W. Smith.
Awesome.
And Michael's known primarily in like the Christian pop rock world. He's been doing it for 35 years. And then about once a year, we also go out and do like a Christmas symphony tour with him and Amy Grant. So other than those two, I don't really do any road stuff anymore. I mean, it's maybe 90 days a year. The rest of the time I work here at home in my studio and produce projects and all that good stuff like everybody else.
Oh, that's
you're also a longtime Roland user, right?
Yep. And it's funny you ask that. I'm sitting here in front of the new Jupiter X and the Fantom. My studio has been torn apart for about 2 weeks now. And I didn't think I'd get to it until we were supposed to start a tour over the weekend, and like everybody else, it got postponed. So I'm here wiring my studio back together and incorporating these new keyboards, and just got my D50 hooked up last night. And nice. long time Roland fan.
So what got you going after the Phantom and the Jupiter X?
Well. I, for the first time ever, was able to go to Winter NAMM this year. I've never been able to go because our tour schedule is always, we're always doing something. And I had been watching, truth be told, I've never been much of a workstation keyboard guy. I've always liked the Phantoms and stuff, the competitors and stuff. But when I saw that the Jupiter X was announced, that was one of my, okay, I only have 3 hours because I was playing an event that night. And I'm like, I got to go to the Roland booth and check out this Jupiter X. And that was one of the very few things I could not pull myself away from. I just had so much fun.
Oh, that's so cool.
Playing with that thing. Yeah. I mean, growing up, in the 80s, in the heyday of all this stuff.
We all wanted the Jupiter 8.
Yeah. It was like being a kid in a candy store. And it was like going back in time. And, I think Scott might have mentioned it in your previous episode, just how, Roland took a bit of a departure, in terms of the way they even built things the last couple of years. And, man, I'm a huge System 8 fan. That's another one of my favorites. But this thing, the Jupiter X, is like, okay, Roland is back in big form. This thing looks and feels like classic, German tank, Roland hardware. Japanese tank, as the case may be.
Yeah.
And it just checks all the boxes. In fact, I had a call an hour ago from one of my high-end producer buddies here in Nashville who saw me making noise about the Jupiter X. And he said, man, I've got an old JP8000 and my XV5080 both sitting in a closet because they both, they've got issues I haven't had time to get fixed, and tell me about the Jupiter X. And I said, dude, it's like a Roland anthology in one box. You've got not only Jupiter, Juno, JX, the SH, and the whole XV5080, and the piano stuff, and the drum machines, and wrap it all up in this big, beautiful case, and there you go. So
yep. And it has that old feel too.
Yeah,
because of the sliders and everything. It's not just going through the digital window only.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, metal pots. I mean, it's just like, I got scolded by a very high-end artist right after NAMM. I won't name any names, but he somebody, he asked about, what's your takeaway from NAMM? And I said the Jupiter X. And he right away, he belly ached. He's like, oh man, it's a VST in a box. I'm like, well, technically so's a DX7. It's
for that
right.
time period. Absolutely.
It's running math. It's just algorithms. And, so does that mean that we don't use Omnisphere or whatever? It's like, who cares whether it's analog or digital? What I care about is how does it sound and does it inspire me? And
bingo. Jim,
cow.
that is such a huge point, because you got so many people out there that get hung up on digital, VST, or analog, and so on and so forth. And to me, I've always felt the same way.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Does it inspire you? Does it help you create music? Who cares?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with the iArpeggio thing, that's part of what, Stranger Things. My daughter, 16 years old, she loves Stranger Things. And I'm like, half of it is the music, and I'm like, there's
Absolutely.
so much. It's like, okay, I get to play the Stranger Things soundtrack. I've got a background in film music, so I've done a lot of that kind of stuff. And it's so much fun. I mean, these arpeggio patterns and stuff that are interactive. I was writing songs on the fly. I'm like, man, I wish I could be capturing this. Well, now I can.
Well, sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, do you find that, back in the early 80s, mid 80s, when you had the beginning keyboards and things like that, and maybe a drum machine, you get something started, oh, I got to go program some drums for this real quick, and then try to play it all live,
right,
and kind of get the idea across, but it was still not quite there. Whereas with the Jupiter X, it kind of brings back that same feeling, but it's actually happening and moving and changing live with you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, all the guys that are complaining about, well, when's Roland going to come out with a real analog reissue of the Jupiter? I'm like, guys, do you really want to go back to 1983, 85 when it was like swimming through molasses in January trying to get stuff down in those days.
Yeah.
And, this is what you wanted in those days. It can still do all those same sounds.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry, but man, you put some blindfolders on somebody, and I forget who did a video that got a pre-release of the Jupiter X, and we're comparing it against the original hardware. And man, if you shut your eyes, you didn't know which was which. I mean, there may be some differences here and there with certain aspects, but no more than if you took a pair of 35-year-old Jupiter 8s that have aged differently. They're going to not sound identical.
No,
but the spirit is there, and the overall vibe and the sound quality, it's stunning. It sounds absolutely incredible. And I've got these huge PMC mastering monitors in my studio, and so I can hear every nuance of these things. And I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy store. This is like the 80s all over, but with the ease of use that we enjoy now. So
yeah,
it's killer.
It is killer, and it brings that warm smile and those goosebumps and everything else that you remember. And it's like, some people forget that, like, when the Jupiter 8 was recorded, whether if it was like a bass line in a Michael Jackson song or something like that Boddicker did, a lot of those were tracked several times, slightly detuned in between. It wasn't what some people think the analog sound was.
Exactly.
But I gotta say, this thing, the Jupiter X, is just like, wow. I mean, it's got that richness and that creaminess and that thickness and all that other stuff.
Yeah, the patch that Ed was playing a few minutes ago, that big brass stack, was buried behind a rack at the time, but I was listening to it from the Fantom. I'm smiling. I'm like, that is my childhood. I mean, those massive, but like you just said, Scott, that to get that back in those days, it was not a simple plug it in and play it affair. I mean, you had to layer stuff, and half the time use analog tape, which was a whole other headache. So between this and the Fantom, I'm like, good night. I don't think you need much else these days. So tell us about the Fantom that you're using and what you've discovered and liked, or any questions, and so on and so forth. So the Fantom, truth be told, I haven't really had much of any time with it yet, because they both showed up the day that we caught on a bus last week. I think it was Thursday night to go on this tour. So I plugged them in, had maybe 5 minutes with them and threw them in road cases. And we got one show done and had to come home. So thankfully, I thought I had the foresight to not let them go on the truck. I was able to bring them home with me and bring them to the studio. So I've only had probably a grand total of an hour just thumbing through sounds and trying to pick my jaw up off the floor because some of these sounds are stunning. I mean, like I said, I've got a lot of what I do is like film music, big cinematic stuff. So I love cinematic, soundscapey type stuff, and the Fantom has that in spades. So I'm a newbie with it. I don't know much about it yet. I will tell you this. As a piano player, there's the two big Japanese brands. I won't name names. I don't know if that's cool or not.
It's all
but
good.
Roland and the other one. And I've always loved the piano sounds from a certain Japanese piano maker. And I never thought I'd look anywhere else. So I just kind of ignored that at first. But when I played them, I was also, I mean, I don't mean this to be a rave fest, but man, the pianos in that thing are killer too. The piano modeling, I forget what it's called.
The V piano.
The V piano. Yeah. And being able to just have those controls at the bottom of the screen to quickly dial in, your ideal piano sound, that's huge. They really, I mean, I've spoiled. I've got every piano plug in and I've actually just released one of my own commercially. And so I'm set for pianos, but I'm like, man, I would use this on a gig without batting an eyelash. It sounds big. It sounds clear. I'm like it cuts through a mix really well. So that's been a nice surprise. So my main interest with the Fantom was as my main centerpiece controller for my live rig. What got me interested at first was the MainStage integration. So that'll be big for me because I use MainStage heavily. I've got a MainStage product I put out a couple months ago. And so that was the main thing. But as I've kind of just experimented going through some sounds, I'm like, okay, I can see relying on MainStage a lot less because the sounds in this thing are so good that, the more strain you can take off your computer, the better. Because I run stems and stuff with Michael live in, huge audiences sometimes. So I need reliability first and foremost. And it's just, so far, it's just been nothing but pleasant surprises because it's got sounds that I'm excited to use. Some of the pads and stuff are like, huge. I've just gone through kind of the pendulum swing. Back in the 2000s, I sold all my synths, all my hardware, and went totally to software. And the last couple of years, I find myself, scoring eBay deals, finding some of these classic synths that I wish I never would have sold. And now I'm back to kind of a hybrid approach where I still rely on some signature software pieces, but I'm really enjoying playing with hardware again, especially something like the Jupiter X, where you've got all the knobs and sliders in front of you.
Yeah.
It's just
Tactile
a whole different
control.
experience.
Yeah.
I mean, it's made me realize I was wrong for a long time. Like I used to tell people, man, forget about hardware. It's so much more convenient in the computer. In some ways it is, but you pay a price for that in terms of hands-on control. And I find that the more I play with real synths again, with analog stuff especially, or things like the Jupiter X with a lot of controls, I'm creating ideas faster than I ever would with software because, number one, you can move more than one thing at a time. You got 10 fingers to play with versus a mouse where you can click on one thing at a time. And it's just more inspiring, I'm like, there's something about wheeling over to one side of my room and, like my Roland rack, it's got, System 8 and a Jupiter X and the Fantom. It's just fun, and I'm creating stuff that I wouldn't create, if I were just sitting in front of a computer screen. So anyway, back to the Fantom, man, the vocoder, I heard Gatibus did his vocoder demo the other day. And again, I'm a sucker for that stuff. Anything 80s is like right up my alley.
Hey, Jim, real quick, I was going to ask you, as in relation to the tour, and I love this, and I like to show this a lot. Are you going to have the Phantom or the Jupiter be the master? In other words, just so everybody understands my question, are you going to set it up to where when you change a scene on either one, the let's say the Phantom, when you change a scene on the Phantom, are you going to set it up to where the Phantom will automatically change the Jupiter scene via MIDI?
Probably a hybrid.
Okay.
I honestly haven't thought through it that far yet. What I can tell you, I actually posted pictures of my rig over the weekend.
Can I show those?
Sure.
Okay,
It's on
cool.
my.
I'll pull it
You
up.
have to dig for it. Probably it's on my Facebook profile. But I have the Phantom in front of me as my main controller, and then on top of that, I've got Roland's VR730 organ keyboard because I love the waterfall action on it and drawbars. So those are my main controllers in front of me, and then off to my right, I've got the Jupiter X, and I actually don't think I'm going to tie the Jupiter X in to MainStage at all, other than maybe sending it program changes to change scenes.
Yes.
I think I'm going to approach that as just a real time, like you would an analog synth to craft lead lines and some of those like the JX pads and stuff like that. I'm just going to kind of leave that one probably standalone. Like I said, maybe I'll send it program changes to make things a little easier. But other than that, I plan on doing everything from the Phantom primarily.
Oh,
Very cool. And go ahead, Ed.
Go ahead. No, I think I found your picture. I'm going to show it to everybody. This is cool, and you should be able to see it. Hold on. Let's see. So there's a nice picture. That's a nice picture of the Jupiter X, by the way. You must be into photography like me. Look at that depth of field right there in that Jupiter X.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of see. You can kind of see. I just by the colors, the keyboards in the background. I can see the computer, and I can also see the VR730. And on the bottom, is that a Phantom? What is that on the bottom?
Phantom 7.
There we go. There's a better picture.
I think there's another picture in that post that shows the other angle that shows the Phantom side of it.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I see an iPad app on the bottom left of that picture. What you? What is that?
So that is a program called Touch OSC, and I've got a custom controller that I built on that for my. It's not an app, but it's an expansion for MainStage called Backstage Pass, and that's all my custom content that I've created over the years. I actually released it back in September. So the iPad controls that. So like I hate having to touch the computer. I wish I didn't even have to have a computer on stage, but I run Michael's show with it, so I need to. So it lets me be a little bit more discreet rather than having to, look like I'm playing with a computer. The computer is really just there for monitoring, but I do everything from the iPad. I change my patches. I've got, controllers on there for my B3 sound, so I can ratchet up the distortion or all kinds of real-time controls for my on-screen sounds. That's kind of home base for me is the iPad.
That's great. All right. Well, I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I also realize it is fun to redo your studio, but it also is time consuming. My studio, was Scott can attest to. I always per project, I almost rip it up, put it together, rip it up, put it together, rip it up. Cables are always flying, and so I understand. But I want to thank you so much for giving us the time and giving us a little peek into your world of touring, and then hopefully we can get this virus taken care of as soon as possible, so we can get everybody back out there playing music for the world.
Yeah.
The other thing, we had one person, Sky Jump Toes, I think is the name, asked a question. He wanted to ask you, which one of your eBay buys surprised you the most? Because you're talking about buying some of the vintage keyboards eBay.
Yeah. It's funny. One of my favorite synths of all time is the Access Virus. It's like this real dangerous sounding. It's like for electronica. It's one of my favorites. That's the one hardware synth I never sold when I got rid of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I had the old desktop version, so I traded that out, swapped it for the Polar, which is a 3-octave, kind of keyboard version. And from there, next thing you know, I'd found, you guys remember Ensoniq from the early 90s?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I grew up not far from the Ensoniq factory, and so I had relationships with them. And the VFX was one of my old favorites. So I snatched one of those up for like $100 and, sampled a bunch of custom content from it.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Some of these boards when we were young were just like, wow. And then you're like,
yeah.
How much? Okay, good. Let's go.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And the other one, it just started a snowball. I found a DX7 in Japan, and culturally there's something over there, like they'll buy stuff and never use it. So I found a 35-year-old DX7 that looked like it had just been taken out of the box that ended up costing me $100.
Oh,
wow.
And so and then I got a D50 next. I always regretted selling my D50. But I'm on, I've got all the Roland Cloud stuff.
Yeah.
But there's something about having the real thing, even if just, 15-year-old me loves looking over at it. It's a fun piece.
Yeah.
And it feels good. Yeah.
It does. I've always liked that action, and it's just a sexy looking keyboard. And so yeah, I mean, it's just, there's always something. My wife, we've got the deal. You keep buying keyboards, I get to buy more furniture or shoes or something.
Oh.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And, so I got to watch myself, but it's fun.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go for now, and we're going to probably wrap up the show. But please stay safe out there, and then we'll be in touch. And then always, if you need anything, just give us a holler too, and we'll help you out any way we can.
You guys are killing it.
Hey, thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Take care, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Hey, everybody. So, like I said, we're just getting to that. And Scott, you still here? I think you are.
Yep.
So,
I'm still here.
So, we're getting to the end of the show, and it's just under 2 minutes. And I think who Martronic said that at this point in the show I tend to ramble, and he's probably right. He probably is right. I think I do. I just like talking sometimes. Okay, so let's go over what we kind of learned today. We went over the process of getting all the different drivers and that we need to get from the Roland website, and how to install them into the computer, and then also how to hook up the Fantom. The fortunate unfortunate thing we did, well, it's actually fortunate, is we ran into some issues with installing drivers because the Mac OS actually blocked some of the drivers through the security. So for those of you that just join in, we show, if you just watch this, it is pretty much a step-by-step how to go in there and download drivers and install them into your computer, included with the issues that might happen to you. So, which like Scott, that was I think that was pretty cool. That they're like, oh, okay, we have some issues. We couldn't have planned that, and it is a little stressful, I must admit, but it is really nice when you figure it out. And then we had some issues with the Fantom. Well, not with the Fantom. One of them was my bonehead thing. The particular scene that I was using, I had the different zones set to go out through a different output rather than the main out. And then we saw Logic had an issue where the in and out was the Fantom, but Logic, for whatever reason, I don't know how it happened, it had the main outs going through out 3 and 4. So once we corrected that, everything seemed to run pretty smooth on there. Hey, Jim, thank you again for joining us. It's a really honor, an honor. I'd love to have more of you guys call in at another date. All right, so we're going to slowly end the show and kind of get it going, because we're hitting, of course, the 2-hour mark, and I got to do other stuff. But I don't know if we're going to have a show tomorrow. Let me know what you guys think, and then I'll probably continue this on Monday, and maybe we can go ahead, since I have the Fantom up, we can do MainStage for Monday. We can do Fantom and the MainStage. We didn't really go too much at all into MainStage, and we need to do that. So let's go ahead and plan for the same bat time if everything's working out good for you. Once again, we are doing this on 2 o'clock Central Standard Time, since I live here in Texas. And then MainStage we'll do on MainStage Monday. MainStage Monday. Cue the echo effect. Monday. So we're going to do MainStage Monday with the Fantom at 2 o'clock on this channel. If you're liking the content that we're providing, please go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and put the bell so you get notified every time we do this. If you don't like it, go ahead and put the thumbs down. It's all good. I know who you are, that one person, every single video. It's all good. It's all good. The fact that you're watching, hey, that's all good with me. So anyway, I'm going to let you guys and gals, all you musicians out there, shout outs to all my different friends out there throughout Carlsbad, and I got some in Round Rock, and I got people all over the world. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, as a little public service, stop it. A little public service announcement. Everybody be safe. Go ahead and listen to what you're being suggested you do. Make sure you go ahead. Don't hoard too much, the TP or the napkins or the paper towels. Be safe when you're going out. Keep your social distance. I'm hoping this is helping you guys so you can review this video and kind of learn and get into it. And just be nice to each other, okay? Just be nice to each other. We'll all get through this as time goes on, okay? But practice the best hygiene you can and just be cool people. All right, that being said, I'm going to let you guys go. Love you all. Keep on playing keyboards. Keep on spreading the awesome music. Scott Berry, anything you want to say, sir?
Just wanted to say thanks again to Jim for coming on and kind of giving us a little bit of an idea of what he goes through and his background. Definitely enjoyed that. I hope you guys did too.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to thank all of you so much for just hanging out with us and hopefully, bringing in your input and other things. And it's like, we go through a lot. There's a lot of products we have to know, and it's great to learn together or come into things that you could run into, operator error
Absolutely.
or system issues or something like that. So again, just thank everybody so much and be safe out there. And like Ed said, wash your hands, be kind to one another. Take care, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, guys. We'll see you on MainStage Monday with the Fantom. All right. See you on Tuesday. No show tomorrow. Monday, we'll start again. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.